Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca, and in today's video I want to share with you some Dollar Tree preps that you can put together for survival. So prepping for survival in an emergency situation can become very expensive, but it doesn't have to be, especially if you're just getting started. If you're starting from scratch and basically have nothing, starting at the Dollar Tree is a really great idea. It's going to save you a ton of money and give you a base of something until you can build up your inventory a little bit and buy some more expensive, better quality items, but at least you're getting started here with something. I'm definitely not an expert in any of this, but I have learned a lot along the way, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And I was thinking about how one time I asked my husband if he considered himself to be an expert in anything, and he said no, because that means I have nothing left to learn, which I love that. I think that's a great way to go about thinking about things. So I'm not an expert. I think we all can learn from one another. So I wanted to share with you some things that I've learned along the way, and hopefully I can learn something from you guys as well. So let's get started. I want to show you what I picked up. I spent less than $35, and I got myself a pretty good base of things. Now, depending on however you want to do things, you can store all of these things in one place. You can parse them out around your home. It's really up to you. But the first thing I ended up getting was a lighter. Lighters are going to be good in any sort of survival situation you encounter. They have these longer lighters, which I like because you can put them down into like jar candles. And they also had like the big lighters as well. These are great if you need to start a fire, light a candle. Just make sure that you're keeping them out of reach of children. We keep these in several rooms in our home. These are always great to have, and for $1.25 you can't go wrong. I also picked up some matches from the Dollar Tree. I picked up a big box. This has 300 matches in it. Perfect to keep in your kitchen or wherever you're keeping your survival gear. And then I also picked up smaller boxes. These are 32 matches in each box, and there's 10 boxes. So I'm going to parse these out in my house. I'm going to keep them, some of them where I keep my survival stuff. I'm actually going to put some in my car. I think it's a great idea to have some in the car. And I'm going to give some to my husband to put in his truck. I also have another video coming up that I'm really excited to share with you guys, and I will be using these for an item that I will be sharing with you in an upcoming video too. So if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. So I picked these up at wet as well. These are a great addition to have in any survival kit. And then candles. So these are great if the power goes out. The only thing with candles is that they are a fire hazard. So you want to make sure that you're getting jar candles. If you are a friend of Jesus, he has cornered the market on jar candles at the Dollar Tree. So if you want to get those, fine. I just picked up plain ones. But the Dollar Tree has a huge selection of candles, tea lights, votives. They have the little, just electric ones. So really, whatever you're looking for, you can find at the Dollar Tree. So I picked these up as well. The only advice I would give is that you definitely want to cut this wick. This wick is actually longer and extends out of the jar. You don't want wicks that long. It's going to billow, it's going to smoke a lot, and it's not safe. So just cut those wicks down if you are going to use candles like this. But like I said, I would go with a jar candle if you are using a candle instead of something like a flashlight, which is also something that the Dollar Tree has a lot of. So there's several different flashlight options that you could pick up there. I didn't pick any up because I actually just picked up some really cute other lighting things that I will be sharing in a separate video, so stay tuned for that as well. But definitely they have a ton of lighting for an emergency situation that you could pick up right at the Dollar Tree. So one of my last videos, I put together a first aid kit from the Dollar Tree. So if you haven't checked out that video, go ahead and check it out. I'll put it in the link. I'll put a link in the description if you guys want to go check that out if you haven't seen it already. But I did pick up some other things that are great for a first aid kit or any sort of survival kit. So a word of caution here, you can probably get a better value for your money at Walmart or your grocery store. I did pick up these Band-Aids that are larger than other Band-Aids that I put in my first aid kit that I just put together. These are larger in size but there's only 6 of them. If you went to Walmart, you could probably get a better deal. So just a word of caution with several things that are at the dollar store, which some other things I'll mention in a little bit, but you may find a better deal at Walmart or your local grocer. So just be cautious of that when you're buying stuff like this. But I did buy Band-Aids, and another thing that I could not find when I put together my kit was gauze pads. So I bought some gauze pads, and I will put these in my first aid kit as well. And then something that someone had commented and mentioned on my first aid kit video was anti-itch cream. So I picked some up from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to throw that in my kit as well. The one thing I could not find, I was at a different Dollar Tree than the one I shopped at previously, and I still couldn't find any antibiotic cream, which I'm not sure if they're just out. They don't carry it. It definitely seems like something they would carry. They have tons of creams for all sorts of ailments at the Dollar Tree. I don't know if it's just maybe a hot commodity item. If that's the case, you're definitely going to want to find some and pick it up, because in an emergency situation, it may be really hard to find. So I picked up that as well. Another thing that's great that the Dollar Tree has is medication. So I just picked up a bunch and I put it in my first aid kit. So I didn't really pick up anything else medication wise, except I did get some emergency. This is name brand. I did find a lot of name brand. I found Tylenol and Advil at the Dollar Tree that I was at. But if anyone is feeling sick, this is a great source of vitamin C to have on hand. So I'm actually going to throw this in my first aid kit as well. But they have a ton of medications for a ton of ailments right at the Dollar Tree. So, and that stuff can get really expensive. So if you're looking to buy something on the cheap, definitely start at the Dollar Tree. I forgot to mention, another option that the Dollar Tree has for lighting is solar lights. So this is a great thing to have if you're going to be without power. They can get pretty bright. I think they're a seasonal item, because the only solar lights that I could find was actually like a skeleton one for Halloween, which I'm surprised I didn't buy because I love Halloween and all things creepy. So maybe I'll have to go pick some up. But another word of caution, you get what you pay for. I have Dollar Tree solar lights out on my patio, and if they don't get enough light during the day, they blink like a strobe light, and it's like a rave is going on my back patio. It's kind of funny, but I don't like strobe lights like that, so that's something to caution you about, especially if you live in an area, say in the winter, when you don't get a lot of sunshine. We have a lot of cloudy days where I live in the winter, so maybe a solar light won't always be your best option, but it is a great idea to have things like that on hand. Another thing that is great to pick up from the Dollar Tree are Ziploc bags. I was gonna grab some. They had some that had the wider base that you could actually like stand up, so it's easier to fill things. I didn't end up getting any though, because it only came in a box of 5, and I don't think that's a very great value. I already have a ton actually anyways, so I didn't grab that. So a word of caution, if you're gonna pick up something like that, it might be better for you to pick those up someplace other than the Dollar Tree, just because the quantity you're getting is not really enough for the money that you're paying. Another thing that you could get, but I would caution you about, are garbage bags. I don't know how great the quality is of the garbage bags at the Dollar Tree. I would definitely recommend having some of the big black contractor bags on hand for an emergency situation. But again, if you're just getting started and the only thing you can afford, or the only thing available to you to get are the Dollar Tree bags, I guess there's nothing wrong with that, right? As long as you're prepared, that's what we're doing, right? We're getting ourselves prepared. Another thing the Dollar Tree has is cleaning supplies, which I did pick up some. They do have bleach there. I did not pick up any of that. This, yes, is a small container, but this is concentrate, so this makes up to 5 gallons of cleaning liquid. So I picked up some of this, and then I also picked up just some dish soap. This is Dawn. They have name brand dish soap there. So this is great for cleaning things or washing your hands. Always great to have on hand. So I did pick up some extras of these as well. Another thing that I probably should have mentioned right off the top is food and water. So you need food and water in any sort of survival situation. You can't live without them, right? And I have found that becoming prepared only for food and water can be very overwhelming, on its own, right? And outside of all the other things that you can get, just food and water can be overwhelming and can be very expensive. I did not pick up any food or water because I just wasn't in the market for it yesterday. And this was more about putting together a different sort of survival kit. So they have a ton of water at the Dollar Tree. I was actually surprised at the different kinds, the different sizes, name brand waters that you can pick up right at the Dollar Tree. You need way more water than you think you do. And if you're in a survival situation for more than a couple days, water is going to go really fast. So always be prepared with that. They also have a ton of canned goods, canned fruits, vegetables, they have rice, they have beans. So you might not have the nutritional value that you're looking for when you're getting things like that from the Dollar Tree, but in an emergency, you definitely want to have some sort of food on hand. So there's nothing wrong with picking some things up from the Dollar Tree. Oh, you know what I didn't mention too? I'm kind of all over the place. I'm sorry. And when I do videos like this, I tend to ramble. So I'm sorry. If you're watching me, thank you. Because I ramble. I did pick these up too. These are 15 items of like a little portable first aid kit. So there's 2 sterile alcohol swabs and then the rest are Band-Aids. So there's 13 different size Band-Aids and then the alcohol swabs. What a great idea these are. I am the mom that always has a Band-Aid, except for my husband just used my last one. So I need to put some more in my wallet, but I always like to keep them on hand just because you never know, especially with kids. So I picked these up. I'm gonna put one in my car and I'm gonna put one in my husband's truck. And I don't know, he's gonna be like, why are you filling my truck up with all these things? I wanna put matches in there. I wanna put Band-Aids in there. I have some other items that I wanna put in there too. So we'll see what he says. But these are always good to have on hand. So in a survival kit or in a first aid kit, these are great to have on hand as well. I put these in my last first aid kit too. So these are antibacterial hand and face wipes. And I mentioned in my last video, I should have picked up more. So I did pick up more when I was there the other day. I picked up some more of these. These are always good to have on hand. And like when my kids were younger, when they were babies and toddlers, I always had baby wipes on hand and they always were super convenient to clean a face, to clean up hands, to clean up a spill if in a pinch. So these are great. I'm gonna put these in my car actually because I feel like we're always searching for a napkin. And if you haven't gone through any sort of drive-through lately, then you may not have napkins in your vehicle. So I'm gonna throw these right in my car. Another good thing to have on hand are batteries, especially if you're gonna be without power and you're using a lantern or a flashlight as a power source. I picked up Panasonic. These are name brand. They don't have Duracell or any of the other brands there. I don't even know what other name brands there are. But I did pick up these and not any of the other ones. This is again something you get what you pay for, but they're batteries. And they're always great to have on hand. So I mentioned in one of my other prepper videos, I showed you guys the black box that my husband keeps our batteries in. So definitely, if you're gonna get stuff like this, you wanna store it properly. You don't wanna be spending all of this money, even if you are only going to the Dollar Tree, and then have stuff get ruined because you didn't store it properly or you lost it or something happened to it. So if you have a case or a container that you could put batteries in, I actually saw someone putting batteries in like an old ammo case that they had, but ours are full, so we can't use that for those. But batteries are always a good thing to have on hand. Make sure you're storing them in a dry, cool place so they're not getting corroded or anything like that. What else? Something I did not get because the Dollar Tree that I was at did not have them are drop cloths. So drop cloths, tarps are good to have in an emergency situation for a variety of reasons. But say you're in a situation where you lose power and you don't have heat. If you isolate your family in one room and put up plastic sheeting on the doorways and on the windows, that's where a tarp can come in super handy because you're gonna help keep some of that heat in and, ooh, that was loud. I don't know if you guys heard that on the video. You're gonna help keep some of that heat in. And so I thought, while I was thinking about tarps, I picked up a pair of scissors. Again, these are cheap, low quality kitchen scissors, but in a pinch they can be useful. And I thought if you did have a situation where you needed to cut up a tarp or drop cloth, this would come in really handy especially if you're storing them all together and you know right where everything is. So I did pick up some of these as well. I also picked up some zip ties. Again, low quality, probably not the best, but there's 100 of these in a pack. So if one breaks, you can just grab another one. But these are gonna come in handy in a lot of different situations. You never know. These are always good to have on hand. Another thing I picked up was just a Sharpie, because I figured why not just throw it in with all of my stuff if I need to write something down or if I need to label or mark something. I thought this was great to have on hand as well. So I picked up a Sharpie. And then some of the last things I picked up have to do with containing moisture. So I picked up these moisture eliminators. If you're gonna start prepping food and keeping like a prepper pantry, you're gonna want something to keep moisture out of your food. You do not want to waste all of your money on food that's gonna get ruined because there's moisture in it or it got wet for some reason. So keep these right in your pantry where you're gonna store your food. These are really great to have on hand. They're cheap. You can actually see the water that fills up in these. So especially if you're in a basement storing food and you don't have a dehumidifier where it tends to be damp, throw these in there. Those are great. And then the last thing I have, I'm just checking my notes. I think I shared everything with you, even the stuff that I didn't get. So the last thing is just these ponchos that I found while I was in the checkout. I don't know, the quality of them is probably not great. It's not a thick, heavy raincoat. It's just a poncho. But if you're in a situation where you're stranded, I thought it was great to throw these in the car. Get some for everyone in your family. So I definitely have to pick up more. I have a family of 4, but I only picked up 2. But that's the thing about doing this in stages. You don't have to buy all of this stuff all at once, right? You can start slow, start small, make yourself a list. I went into the Dollar Tree with my list of things that I wrote down that I wanted to have. And then just tick things off as you get them. And then it's also a really smart idea to keep track of the things that you have and keep track of the things that you've used, right? You're gonna rotate the old with the new, especially in a food or water situation. But if you used a pack of batteries, grab a pack the next time you're out, just so you constantly have a supply of things that you may need in an emergency situation. So I picked these up. Obviously, probably not the best quality, and you could pick up rain gear at a later time, but in a pinch, these are definitely going to work out in your favor. So that is my list of items that you can get from the Dollar Tree for a beginner survival kit. This definitely is not, the mother of all survival kits. This is just a beginner, just to get you started. Definitely, if you're on a budget, this is something that's going to be helpful to you. There are a lot of other things that you can get at the Dollar Tree for survival situations. This is just to get you started. So I really hope that you found value in this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Like I mentioned, I have a lot of other video ideas coming up that have to do with survival and prepping, and I don't want you to miss out on any of them. So thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you're here, and I will see you guys next time. Hi everyone, it's me and Carl. It's the Rebecca and Carl show. Oh my God, you're something else. Look who's here. Naughty. Hey, you're not supposed to be on the table. Carl, get down. No, don't sit on the table. Gross.